ketchup all day. Ketchup all day long.
For the record, I want to state that I am shocked there's something that Bert doesn't put on his hot dog. I thought he was going to take everything. You understand? My sister sit up there and cooks, and what does Bert do? He doesn't call it a meal. He says it's the buffet. Everything is available, and I saw it with my own two eyes. He ate every damn thing, and I mean every damn thing. Now, me personally, this is the thing. When I put ketchup on the hot dog, sure, a little bit, maybe. But I prefer sauerkraut. And it also depends on where. The hot dogs at Madison Square Garden are delicious. With the sauerkraut, great. But in Indy, sauerkraut different. But in Indy, nah. I didn't like the hot dogs there the way I liked them at Madison Square Garden.
Okay, confusing hot dogs and
I
sauerkraut.
am not familiar with that.
Okay, I think we put sauerkraut, sauce, and rock.
No, not that. It must be an East Coast thing.
Okay, I'm gonna, the Chicago thing right here, I'm gonna lose my card maybe, but I do put ketchup on the hot dog. And quite frankly, I put ketchup on everything, because it's the best condiment, and no one's gonna argue otherwise. I like ketchup. It's the best condiment. Hot sauce, ketchup. Tier one. Let's play basketball. Why don't we do that?
Ketchup wanna go on fucking hot dogs, fries.
Pistons or Magic? Remember, Pistons down 2-1. Kirk wins.
I got the Pistons. I got the Pistons for even this series. So I got to go with Detroit. JB go have those sports.
Okay, Pistons tonight.
JB was my coach of the year. Pistons, and you're the number one seed tonight. What the hell are you doing being down 2-1 to the Orlando Magic? What's up? I'm picking the Pistons tonight. You better win.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Pistons too. Timberwolves, Nuggets. What has been a very chippy series. Stephen A. Timberwolves or Nuggets? No Anthony Edwards.
I'm going with the Nuggets. We're back in Denver. I'm just looking at them and I'm saying, I can't imagine Jokic, particularly after the way Game pointed. I can't imagine Jokic and Murray and them going out like that. They might go out when you go back to Minnesota. I can't see them going back to Denver and losing the game tonight. I just can't see that. I think they win.
Yeah, I'm going with the Nuggets too. I believe.
What up, y'all? What up? Like to subscribe. What up? Just watching.
Because of the altercation.
Rolling up some tree. Smash the like button, y'all. Smash the like button.
You got attitude tonight.
I think the Timberwolves have had attitude and they might continue.
Let's get these subscribers up. Look at.
Lastly, Thunder.
We're to 200K. I'm at 189.
Against the Suns. We have our first team moving on.
189. Let's get these subscribers up. What up, y'all? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up?
The series is over. Shea Butter.
What up?
The series is over, and I'm gonna say this, Shay, real quick. If SGA duplicates what he did last year, MVP, championship finals MVP, somebody in that top 10.
What's the weather where y'all at?
Have to move over because he's moving right on with the green.
The one team that doesn't need rest will get it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome. On this Overreaction Monday, April 27, 2026, this program begins now. Sports! The absolute greatest thing, let me tell you, after the NFL draft weekend, which was spectacular, record-breaking in Pittsburgh is 805,000 people.
What up?
It's not 805,000 different people. It's 805,000 people attending the event. Now, the draft is not just the stage and the parking lot packed with people having a great time peacefully. Okay? Which I don't think any of us would expect them to. It's also the stadium they had a draft experience. Over at the point, they had a thing going on. They took over, did they say 4 million square feet, Foxy?
I believe so.
4 million square feet in downtown Pittsburgh, 805,000 people.
What up?
Events. And obviously, whenever you think about the dreams that came true throughout
Yeah, you see my I'm an anime fan. I like all the manga series. Basically, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, Tarika. What's that new shit they got? The boy supposed to be cooking. I watched the basketball show. the great, the generational team show, the basketball. Watched all that.
Has he stamped his ticket to Hall of
It's
Fame?
raining where I'm at.
Is he on his way? Potentially. He was the last pick in the draft.
I'm in Minnesota, y'all. Cold out here. You been to Minnesota? Like and subscribe. You been to Minnesota? Hit this mat like button.
Seems to be high, except for a couple cities. We'll go through the storylines.
Tear that smash button up.
We have DJ Oshie joining us. He'll be joining us in about 40 minutes or so. The NHL is hot because Sidney Crosby's still in the playoffs. Yeah, buddy. Come on. Yeah.
Hang in there, Sid.
Yeah, the Colorado Avalanche. You look right here. Everybody said they're the big bad wolf. Well,
They did it real quick.
just for Sagan. The other series still cooking, obviously, around. We'll talk to TJ Oshie about what other storylines other than the Pittsburgh Penguins with Sidney Crosby still being alive. I think that Buffalo-Boston one's fun because I've seen a lot of rollerblading going on. A lot of rollerblading going on up there. That's going to be spectacular. We're talking, obviously, to Iman Shumpert about the NBA. We got Mike Rapoli.
Well, like and subscribe.
I believe is eyes on and owner of the UFC. Does he own the whole league?
I think so. Yeah,
He's bought the league.
I believe so.
He owns the UFL because obviously the UFL was in the middle of their season 6 weeks in already. We knew that.
Wow.
We all
And
knew
on the
that.
playoffs.
Yeah, we're coming down the stretch.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What up, y'all? Like and subscribe.
I think it's a team
They're
effort.
saying that about Kurz. He's 51% now.
He's the guy.
Feels like he was the one out promoting it. He was holding the football on
Right.
it up, remember?
Yeah.
He was holding the football. He very successful. Vitamin Water, I believe he was a part of.
Yep.
The Noble brand, Tom Brady
Body
brand.
armor.
Body Armor, I believe he was part of. So I think he's horse racing.
Yeah, Rapoli Stables.
Rapoli Stables. He's
Still stable.
this guy's successful in a lot of things. Bought a league. Okay, now he runs his spring football league. He now is not only in the middle of cooking something up, but trying to figure out what the future could look like for the UFL. And I've often been a hater of this particular league. I've actually refused to call it by its actual name numerous times because I thought XFL was much cooler.
What up, what up, what up, what up?
They combine and they get the X out. I'm a little confused there. Them go to UFL, I appreciate it, I respect it. Spring football always going to be something for us to watch until we don't. Usually we don't because the quality of it's pretty shite. This year, feels like the boys are thumping.
Oh, yeah.
This year feels like boys are thumping. There's been some highlights. There's been some points being scored. There's been some good shit going. But I just thought to myself after the draft weekend came and went, if there's one particular player that is having a tryout with the Ravens this upcoming weekend, if he was going to the UFL,
Huge for
is Diego Pavia not the UFL blueprint that you would think for spring football? Big name, not scared to promote things at all. He can move, so he won't die back there. And if you look at some of the quarterbacks in the UFL, I don't know any of them.
No.
I don't know any of
The
them.
biggest thing, too.
Especially right now, because how many quarterbacks are on the roster? You know, going into training camp, there's a certain 100 whatever, okay? There's like 6 quarterbacks, 5, 6 quarterbacks. Those guys, if they're on contracts with the NFL, they can't play in the UFL. So you do 32 teams times 500, the 170th ranked quarterback potentially in the UFL,
Yep.
or you got an older quarterback that's coming out of kind of his entire career, or you potentially get a guy that hasn't been drafted, that still is free, has a name, can potentially get a few weeks out of him, and he can still get into the NFL, maybe with how he does in the UFL. This feels like kind of a home run situation. You're going to pitch it to Republic.
That was it.
And then he's going to tell us why or that can't happen. And also, Diego, we're not saying you won't have a good NFL career. Okay? We think you're a dog. Maybe you'll be able to figure it out up there. We think your style of play, your size, everything basically about you is probably why you weren't the most desirable prospect.
Like and subscribe, y'all.
We think you'll do well. If you hit it off with Baltimore, we'll be very happy for you. But it feels like the UFL should be giving him.
Yeah. So,
That feels like that feels like a match made in heaven.
yeah.
800,000 viewers, they're average. That's not bad. Spring ball, that's not bad at all. You get a Diego Pavia in there, you just kind of run up the number a little bit. There's some other name brands out there, maybe run it up a little bit. With NIL, with guys playing longer, maybe getting more of a name, maybe not being such great NFL prospects, maybe this can continue. Hopefully the UFL lives because we love ball,
Yep.
right? That's for everybody who tweets me after we make fun of the UFL. You don't like football. I like good football.
Like and subscribe on my views, y'all.
Do you guys do that, or are you going to hold out whenever you lose $50 million? That's kind of the tough thing, but we would like it to go good. So we are having Rapoli on. We'll also have Shams on here in about an hour, and Schefter in about 4 minutes. It's not just me,
obviously on this stage, there's a great group of lads. The Toxic Tables here at Boston Corner at Guy Smith. They focusing on football up there in New England, or are we pivoting away from that completely as the Celtics continue to do their thing in the playoffs?
Yeah, the focus is always on football, but right now, exactly, we're after a Larry O'Brien. You know, these things don't just grow on trees, all right? It takes a lot of effort to go and get one of these things. This is actually a real Larry O'Brien trophy. I don't know if you know, that's not plastic, that is pure gold.
The top was kind of rolling there.
So that's because, well, don't break it, man. That's because I was so juiced up for it. I, tried to yank off the basketball and kind of bring it home.
Yeah, the Sixers certainly did not have their best night last night. The Celtics continue to do their thing. That game got to 30 at the end in trash time. I mean, they had fifth stringers playing at one point, and the Celtics fifth stringers, and maybe it's because Lethal Shooter came over, they didn't miss either. Feels like the Celtics don't really miss, and they play great defense. The fact that Tatum has recovered in the way that he has from his Achilles gives a lot of hope. Okay, Daniel Jones, a lot of hope.
Yes.
Tyrese Halliburton, if he can ever shape these shingles.
Cheese for weed.
Hey, listen, that's seemingly a real problem.
But here's what do you mean?
That's 9-year NFL vet, Darius J. Butler.
Yeah, you were hanging out with us.
Yeah, a lot of depth, a lot of vibe. What do you mean?
I don't know. I think, have you had chicken pox?
Yes.
Oh, go see your doctor.
No. That's not what I'm doing.
I had chicken pox before.
Okay, yeah.
Tariq Halliburton, y'all know the NBA player Tariq Halliburton got the shingles.
If you had chicken pox, then you have that gene, and then he just lays
See, what we're saying right now is you guys should do your own you guys should do your own research on this, but yeah, I think if you've had it, I think it's like
better hope. Like mono, you have it once and then you're done with it.
I don't know.
I never had mono.
Me neither.
That's bad.
No, I would never like to have one.
Make it out of it, but you're good.
But I remember
You
chicken
guys know
pox
any
being.
black guys that had mono? Actually, I think about it. I don't know too many black guys.
I remember
That's a good question. I'm assuming
fatter
Cosby.
teammate of mine was trying to get mono because he wanted to lose weight. He was a white guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Who's the quarterback then? Is that Sam?
Yeah, Sam Darnold got mine.
Yeah.
Darnold had
That was a long start to the season.
Yes, it was.
That was really tough.
Yeah, Tariq Halliburton got shingles.
Like his Achilles, same doctor as Tatum. Obviously, same recovery process until shingles happens. Thinks he'll be good. But for the future of Achilles injuries, I think with what Tatum's doing right now is obviously a good sign going forward with where our science and technology is currently at. Celtics appear to be an absolute problem. There's a lot of drama all around the NBA. We'll certainly chat about that. Let's go to one half of the Hammer. Cowboys AP Tone. Big story coming out of the draft from me is that the number 2 overall pick, the odds makers, had no idea what it was going to be. That, for me, says that the New York Jets don't have any leaks. Okay, because if there was any leak anywhere to anybody about anything they were going to do with the number 2 overall pick, the sportsbook certainly would have found. DraftKings would have certainly found out about what they were thinking about doing and whenever they were kind of making their odds for who's going to go number 2 overall. Nothing got out. That impressed me about the Jets. And then they continued to impress me with everything that they did. And I said, wait a minute. Is this not the same old stinky Jets here?
I don't know.
Is this a brand new jet engine plane happening over there? No loose lips. No sunk ships. Everything seemed to be smart. Everything had a vision. It appeared. The Jets made me a believer here after the draft. You know who else? Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I was making the draft picks for them on Friday. What an honor. Thank you for that. CJ and Halsey, can't wait to watch you guys absolutely dominate in Indianapolis. You're going to enjoy your time here. And from my understanding, you two are absolute dogs. Then we had in Bryce Betcher as well, and amongst a few others. Oh, yeah, and Sauce Gardner is our first round draft pick. So I feel good about the Colts. I oddly feel good about the Jets in there. There's some other teams that people are feeling really good about coming out of the draft. Feels like there's a lot of happiness. What do you say, Tom?
Yeah, I agree. The Colts had a great one. They also got Deion Burks with their last pick, who's a great wide receiver out of Oklahoma. You talked about the Jets. They got 4 dogs with their first 4 picks in that one. I like the Cleveland Browns.
Whoa! Tony! Here we go. Brownies! Here we go! Brownies going to the Super Bowl. Here we go. Look at their coach, Todd Monken.
Here we go.
He dresses bad, but he seems he can draft. So when they play the Steelers, they're gonna kick their ass. Here we go. just saying right there.
I do like to cut a Bonkins gym. Okay, the neighbors were complaining about how loud their practice was. He said, crank up that noise.
That's what I'm saying. Here we go. This is what you're saying right now.
I mean, the Steelers got 4 All-Pro, potentially Hall of Famers in their draft, so we're good there. Okay, but no, the Browns, they traded back. They got Fano with their first pick. We came into the draft knowing that they needed an offensive tackle and wide receiver half. So they got the tackle with their first pick after trading back. Then they get Casey Concepcion later in the draft, so they got the wide receiver cross up.
Or to 200K. Let's go. Let's go. Subscribe, reviews. Let's get these views up, y'all. Look.
At their third pick, so they're good there. And then the safety.
Come on, man. I need to get to 200K. 300 subscribers. 200K views. 200 subscribers. 300 subscribers plus.
Insanely athletic quarterback who they said they are going to try out at quarterback. They got him there too. And then you pair that with last year, they got Mason Graham early. And then they got Carson Schwarzenegger, who won Defensive Player of the Year. What the Browns have, and the 2 running back starters last year. Yeah. What the Browns have done the last 2 years at the draft. Obviously, we haven't seen these guys yet, but I do like what the Browns did.
Okay, I like hearing that, and that's what the draft does right there.
Yeah.
You know,
We're on bias here.
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be. You have to celebrate it all.
Yeah.
And there's obviously other teams that we were impressed with, and we would like to dive into all of them, but we should hear from the man who has heard from all the different teams post the draft. Ladies and gentlemen, senior NFL insider from ESPN, Michigan man, Adam Schefter.
Yeah,
Shefty, how you doing?
Gentlemen, what's going on?
Oh, I like that. I like the word.
Juice.
I like the juice that we got going on. You obviously just looked at your phone. I don't know if you're in the middle of something or breaking news or just got done breaking news, but we appreciate you doing that. What is the big story coming out of the draft for you? Obviously, we saw the Lemon conversation with Omar Khan and the Pittsburgh Steelers, which then the Philadelphia Eagles trade up, and it's like, okay, the Steelers almost went with wide receiver, it feels like, in the first round. Instead, they go with offensive line. Was there any other stories like that maybe you have heard since the draft, or what do you think is the big thing coming out?
Well, I'll say this first of all, before we go into the draft winners and losers. I think you're the big winner here, Pat. You had a great weekend last weekend in your city. The film on Wednesday night was outstanding. The party we put together, the film was great. NFL Films, everybody got a chance to watch that, but it's an ode to Pittsburgh and what it means to people to
What up, y'all? Like and subscribe.
Play there and what football means to that city. It was awesome, and you did a great job that night. I'll say this. My wife does a great job throwing parties. And when I go to an event like that, you remind me of her in many ways because nothing gets lost in the details. Everything is above and beyond. And you and my wife share a lot of similarities. If you two ever threw a party together, it would be very, very pricey, but very, very classy.
Okay. All right. Well, shout out to your wife, and shout out to you for coming through. I genuinely appreciate that. I know you're probably incredibly busy on the night before the draft, especially with potential news what could come the next day. Everybody that came through, ESPN folks that came through for the ESPN kind of NFL crew, the Game Day crew came through, NFL Network people came through, the shoots that came through. Everybody, I was very, very grateful that everybody spent their time kind of coming by. But I think it set the stage, hopefully, for a good draft week, you know. And then Pittsburgh would go on to show up at a rate that the NFL draft hadn't seen before. I'm just very grateful you came. Coach Cowher was unbelievable throughout the entirety of it. And thank you for the kind words, man. Yeah, it was a blast. Miss Stacy at the Carnegie Science Center, absolute weapon, too. Executed the entire... She is... a beast, but yes, it was fun to put together. I was thankful people came, and it seemed like it all worked.
Yes.
Which is
big time.
Yeah, it's pretty pumped and everything.
Also, the city of Pittsburgh did a great job. You see the support that it showed. Everyone was so nice and generous, and everybody was so happy that people in their city. And I mean, it was a really classy way that the Pittsburgh people acted, the way the city behaved, and it was a success all around for a draft that a lot of people. I think did not view as one of the great drafts that we've seen in recent memory. And I think going into this draft, there were people that felt this was a down draft. Next year was supposed to be an up draft, but the city of Pittsburgh embraced it. You talked about surprises, moments that we remember. I think that Mekhi Lemon pick was one. The Rams not being able to trade back with Ty Simpson. A lot of people, the Rams ideally would have liked to have moved back from 13. So they could get more picks and still take Ty Simpson. But when their turn on the clock came, they didn't get any calls. There was nobody that was willing to trade up to 13 at that point in time. And so they were forced to sit there, stick there, and make a pick there. And believe me, they were very happy to get Ty Simpson. The thinking initially was that they would pick him at 29, but they wound up trading that pick for Trent McDuffie. And then they went ahead and used that pick on Ty Simpson, a quarterback that they had a high grade on. And by the way, like, everybody's gone back and forth on this, the right pick, the wrong pick. I think when you draft a quarterback for the future, it's a little like insurance. You know, you don't think you need it until you have to need it, and you have to call on it. And at some point in time, Matthew Stafford will leave the game, and they're going to probably be real happy at that point in time that they have the quarterback insurance that they bought at the 2026 NFL Draft to start getting Ty Simpson ready for the next challenge post-Matthew Stafford career. And by the way, like, okay, they debated taking Mekhi Lemon. They debated taking Mangi Uwani, the Penn State guard, at that spot. They debated other players. But it wasn't like this draft was filled with blue chippers that they felt like they were passing on a player that they had to have. They felt like it was more important to build for their future. It's exactly what they did. And by the way, it's also why I don't have a big problem with the Cardinals taking Jeremiah Love at 3 when they already had in that running back room Tyler Algier and James Conner and Trey Benson, because this was not a draft that was loaded in the eyes of scouts.
Yeah, Carson Beck ends up being the quarterback that the Cardinals end up drafting. They're in a situation with Jacoby, I guess. You know, they'll figure that whole thing out. Ty Simpson to the Rams. You know, Sean McVay, his initial reactions, we obviously all judged pretty mightily. You know, like, there's some screenshots of him being upset. Then the phone call is amazing because Ty's like, hey, let's go make history, coach. He goes, yeah, okay, enjoy tonight, man. Let's move along. And he came out and even said, like, in that moment, there's a lot happening there. I have to juggle Matthew Stafford. I want him to know that this is his team. I want Matthew Stafford to know that this is on his timeline. Like, we are not telling him that this is an ending for him at some point, last year, 2 years. Whenever he wants to be done, he can be done. Is kind of what Sean McVay came out afterwards, sitting right next to Les Snead, saying we are together in this entire thing, and talked about that. Because we just saw the Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers situation happen in Green Bay, where they were close to winning a Super Bowl. Sorry, I get choked up thinking about just the end of that run up there in Green Bay. They were close to a Super Bowl, though. They gave up 180 yards before contact on the ground to the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship. The Green Bay Packers did. Then you go to the draft. You don't have a 1. You trade into 1, and you decide to get a quarterback that's going to play 2 years from now or 3 years from now and end up being where the team, and Aaron, I think, immediately thought. So that's the only counter argument to it all. But I appreciate the fact that Coach McVay was immediately like, Stafford needs to know that this is how this is, because I don't think that was necessarily how it was in Green Bay. I don't think.
But let me say this, like, every situation is handled differently, and the Rams had the 2 ones. So if you just flipped it for a moment and said they traded pick 13 for Trent McDuffie and they drafted Ty Simpson at 20, would you be good with that? Probably feel better. That's how they did it. And there's also a way to handle all these situations through time where a team takes a quarterback when they have a quarterback. I remember being in Denver back in, I think it was 1991 or 2, when the Denver Broncos used their first-round draft pick on UCLA quarterback Tommy Maddox. And John Elway was at the baggage claim at the Palm Springs airport when he had found out. And a couple of weeks before the draft, he talked about how he wanted the Broncos to pick Carl Pickens, the wide receiver from Tennessee, in the first round. And at that point in time, the Broncos, I think, didn't necessarily love that John was speaking out. They picked Tommy Maddox. He found out about it later. And we go back to Atlanta when they took Michael Penix. They called Kirk Cousins while they're on the clock. In this particular case, not that it makes the situation better for the quarterback, but the Rams that afternoon called both Matthew Stafford and Stetson Bennett, both their quarterbacks, to let them know, hey, just want to give you a heads up. We are planning and intending to take Ty Simpson tonight. That was in the afternoon. So they were given a heads up in advance. They handled it the right way. There's no simple way of doing it, but the Rams handled it about as well as you could.
Okay, you're getting some vibrations, sensations coming through the speaker. Are you getting updates right now from the Rams telling you, hey, remember, we caught him during the day?
Even Stetson. Oh, Jimmy, too?
Well, nothing right now. A few tests, but nothing.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, let's move away from the draft and talk about some of the other storylines around the draft. Go ahead, Tone.
Yeah, Shefty, obviously this offseason, the Cowboys franchise tag George Pickens, and then there's reports that he doesn't obviously want to play on the franchise tag. The Cowboys are not going to give him a long-term deal. And then draft night, right before the draft starts, he signs his franchise tag. We're trying to connect dots to see if that means that they're going to be able to trade him during the draft. That obviously does not happen. What's the latest on the Cowboys and the George Pickens situation?
Look, he wants he wants a long-term contract or he would like a trade. They have been very clear that they're not going to give him a long-term contract. So now that leaves them in a position, both sides, I think that's a little bit unsettled at this current moment. George Pickens signed a tender, so he is now contractually obligated to be there for mini camps, for training camp. He has to be there. Now, we'll see how that works out. He wants to be traded. I think you don't just sign that tender willy-nilly like, oh, I feel like signing a tender today. Like on the day that there had to be some sort of motive that he had. Now, I do believe that there were people that were trying to get him traded during the draft, looking into other teams. Would you have any interest? Teams got calls about that, but nothing materialized. I don't think it's entirely off the table that at some point in time he could be traded, even though the Cowboys have been adamant that they have no plans to trade him. At some point in time, if there's a team that's willing to give them a decent enough haul in return, I would think it might be in everybody's best interest at that time.
Shefty, I don't know. I genuinely don't know how many buildings like kind of watch our program. It feels like a lot of them do. We'll just keep running these highlights of this guy. I think there's going to be some people that get pretty interested. While you're obviously talking about the entire situation, about there being a motive and some people peeking around, I mean, after the draft would be a good time to revisit those conversations. I mean, that's blank. Or that's Coop. Yeah, that's Coop. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, boys. I don't think you all look the same. Sorry. Okay, I do apologize for the confusion there between Blank and Coop or whatever the case is. But these highlights are outrageous. He played his best ball by far last year with the Dallas Cowboys. They're saying he's going to play under the franchise tag. He's got Mulligeta as an agent. It feels like somebody's going to be paying George Pickens a lot of money to do that right there. And who will be the team that missed out on a wide receiver that they wanted in the draft?
And by the way, there could be at some point in time, we get to camp, somebody loses a receiver due to injury. Whenever that happens, the thinking is going to shift to George Pickens if he hasn't been traded by that point in time. It's just going to kind of float out there all along. I'll say this. The Dallas Cowboys also said last year, I believe, that they weren't trading Micah Parsons, and they wound up trading him. And George Pickens will be more tradable than Micah Parsons. So even though Dallas says it's not trading him, I still believe that a trade will be alive. It will follow that team and him throughout the summer. And forgive me for being ignorant and naive, but there had to be a reason why he signed that franchise tender.
How many years you been covering the NFL?
36.
Very ignorant and naive man, I'd say.
More tradable than Michael Parsons.
That's crazy. Is that just contract expectation or why?
With what?
With him being more tradable, you said more tradable than Michael Parsons?
No. What I'm saying is the Cowboys said that they weren't trading Michael Parsons. In this particular case, they're not married long-term to George Pickens. They've already said they're not extending him. They wanted to keep Micah Parsons long-term. The Dallas Cowboys have basically advertised that as much as we like George Pickens, we're not signing him to a long-term deal. So there's no long-term commitment. So if there's no long-term commitment, they would be more apt, in my mind, to trade George Pickens than they were Micah Parsons at this time last year. We know how that went last year. Now, they're saying that they don't intend to trade George Pickens. That's their plan. But my point is, if they traded Parsons, then I think Pickens is even more tradable than Parsons was a year ago.
Okay, so you're saying with what they have deemed what they were going to do with each guy. The Micah thing's interesting because that felt like a real turn quick. Yeah. That got nasty quick, it felt like. And the Packers were like, yeah, we'd love to have him. Yeah. And then whenever he was playing, they were great. And then when he wasn't playing, the Packers were ass. Yes. So that was a good trade, no matter what they gave up for that particular situation. George Pickens, he'd go to a team immediately and become their one. I mean, just wherever he had to.
He kind of became the Cowboys one in there with CeeDee Lamb because when he was Steelers, he was almost like a one-trick pony with the deep ball, but then he got the Cowboys, got with Dak, and he showed that he could run the entire route tree in the slot. But speaking of wide receivers and being tradable, going back to the NFC West with the San Francisco 49ers, I know John Lynch has been speaking more on Brandon Ayuk. There's been rumors about the Commanders having interest. What are we hearing on the latest on the Brandon Ayuk front?
Well, we know he's not going to be back in San Francisco. We know the team is ready to move off from him. And they've advertised, including this weekend, at every turn, that they would trade him for whatever they could get back for him. And I think the reason that a team's not trading for him right now is they don't want to assume the current contract that he has. And so it's a situation where he hasn't been in clear, constant communication with the Niners. They've had a hard time getting a hold of him. Other teams, I think, have attempted to reach out. They've had a hard time getting a hold of him. So it's a situation where the 49ers feel like, yeah, Brandon Ayuk, I'm sure, would love to be released so he can go rejoin his college teammate Jaden Daniels in Washington. That's a prevailing thought out there. But the Niners are like, you know what? We don't really care. We've got some time between now and camp opening, and we're not just going to give him away unless we feel like we can get something back for him. The issue is that teams don't want to trade for that contract, and they don't want to trade for that contract when they can't even discuss it with Brandon Ayuk.
Hold on, Schefter, though. Didn't they void his guarantees because of breach of contract?
Correct.
So wouldn't that be the new? So does the team inherit the breached contract, or does the team inherit full contract and they have to decide whether or not he breached their contract?
I'd have to. Okay, let me just call this contract.
Oh, I got him.
That's a good question.
Yeah, because it's
No. What I'm saying is, no, you didn't get me. It's first want to see the contract here, right? So right now he is okay. So he's supposed to make this year in November 25. They voted $27 million in guaranteed money for this season. So whatever he's due to make this year, that's what I'm trying to see. That money is not guaranteed anymore. Okay, so what's his base salary supposed to be this year? I can't see that. It's too little for me.
27 million. 27 million, I believe. Okay.
So that's the base. Looks like it's 11 million.
1.2.
Oh, well, I guess the team would have to take on.
In 27, it's 27.2, and then 28, it is 29.1.
Come on, Lynch.
Right.
Text Chef.
Yeah, just text him. Text John Lynch and say, hey, what's going on? Because if he breaks...
The point is, I think that Ayuk is supposed to make so much money this year that another team would not want to pay him that. And so you can't trade for the player without taking on the contract, even without the guaranteed money. And there isn't a team out there right now that wants to pay him the money that is due to him. It may not be guaranteed, but it's still due to him this year. And so a team that trades for him, and there's been none so far that has been willing to do that, would want to rework the contract. And again, they've had a hard time reaching the player. Just kind of floating around out there right now.
All right, well, we hope it all works out, dude.
Yep. Figure it out.
However you want it to work out, we hope it all works out. You're really good at football, Mr. Ayuk. You are really, really good at football. That's why this conversation's even happening. Just remember that. We love watching you play.
Oh, yeah.
Love watching you.
Get your shit together, brother.
Yeah, come on. There's a lot out there right now. Now, Brandon. Whatever you want to do. Yeah, you do it.
Cannot leave him.
But I'm thinking about guys in the past that just walked away and they've gone on like their own like journeys or whatever. Like whatever. Hey, good luck out there, man. It's a lot of money just to be leaving out there. A lot of money.
Next up, the dog fence experts. Looking for the same.
No 49ers picks.
Who's the play? Name that team. Was it Colts? Maybe the Colts were trained for George Pickens.
Rams, perhaps?
Oh, maybe it's the Rams saying, good job on the Ty Simpson cleanup there.
Yeah.
Is that the Rams said there?
You know, I do want to go back to when George Pickens was traded. It wasn't exactly a robust trade market. I think David Mulligetta helped find that one team in Dallas, and it was a great trade for both sides, for Dallas and for Pittsburgh at this point in time. Now you got to find another team. The talent is incredible. Like anybody, the Steelers always said that. Like that has not been the question with George Pickens. It's the other stuff that, again, he's got to show them a certain maturity. And I thought he played very well this year, and he showed he's worthy of that stuff. But again, there's got to be a team that's willing to step up to pay him. And we'll see whether that comes together.
That's a great text. As we're getting phone calls from the Schefter Hot Corner over there, the post-draft, the George Pickens signing of the franchise tag kind of sent out a red flag to everybody that something might be up on him moving into his next stage of his career. Was with the Steelers, had an incredible year with the Cowboys. We assume he won't play under the franchise tag, but maybe it is. Just plays under the franchise tag, continues to...
He has to now. He has to now. Because he signed it. That's
Japanese words that sound like English words, part 1. Please pronounce correctly. Piedmont and...
Oh, my father. He's contractually obligated to be there now.
No Japanese.
Yeah, we understand what you're saying.
No, I had just stopped going to meetings, stopped being around, like they couldn't get a hold of him. And whatever it was, there were enough actions and behaviors that the team was documenting all along that it felt like they had grounds to void his guarantees. Like to void the guarantees, you have to take some serious steps to have that done.
Yeah, well, that's what we're saying, though. We hope it doesn't end up like that with George in Dallas. We hope maybe, whatever happens, we just hope George ends up with all the money and he falls in love with the place that he ends up at. Ty has a question for you, Shefty.
Yeah, Shefty, it gained quite a bit of steam this weekend right after the
How
Giants
Japanese sounds to non-Japanese speakers.
I know they just drafted him, the top 5 not too long ago, but his name kind of popped up on the trade market. Is there anything there
How many Japanese
with him? 'Cause that was
songs do we
really
know?
hot, maybe traded during the draft.
Commas in Japanese. Here are top 5 Japanese songs that have gone super viral all around.
Japanese songs that everybody
They
knows.
never came close to trading during the draft. They had a conversation with the Saints about a month ago. The talks never really went anywhere. And we were told, I think we put up an alert during the draft, even after the Giants did Argo.
If somebody offered you have you exercised
of
today?
trading Kayvon Thibodeau at that point in time. Now, again, could something happen later this summer? Something always could happen. Just go back to Micah Parsons last year. But I can tell you that as of today, the Giants do not plan to nor intend to trade Kayvon Thibodeau. The plan is to hold on to him. The plan is to keep him. There was a conversation with New Orleans over a month ago prior to the draft. The Saints over the weekend dealt for another pass rusher, Tyree Wilson, the former high first-round draft pick from the Las Vegas Raiders. That was the direction the Saints went. The Giants are planning to have Thibodeau be a part of their defense this season.
John Harbaugh's handling everything like a master class. It does feel like the Giants are the hot team to believe in right now. Hey, why not believe in the Giants? Why not believe in the Giants? Do we believe in Jackson Dart 100%, Bruce Braun?
Oh, 100, 1,000% believe in Jackson Dart.
All right, I like it. Is he going to submarine his head into his thoughts? Is he going to do that?
No.
I like it. Hey, I want to let you know, I like that he's willing to do that.
It was an overblown narrative the whole time. He missed one game. He had one concussion that the Unk missed. The Unk was picking on him all season long. Never got him once on a concussion.
Big holes in the
He's going to be fine. He's going to be more than fine.
I can't wait. I hope so. I love the way he plays, man. I love the amount of money. In New York, too. Scattergood's back or no?
Yeah, Scotty was going to be good to go. Neighbors, it seems like, is a little bit slower in the recovery. But yeah, I don't know who the hell's playing D tackle, but everything else seems like you got sorted.
Yeah, you guys go really Dexter. Just couldn't wait to get him out of the building. Huh? Just couldn't wait to send him to Cincinnati. And then you look at Cincinnati, he's like, I kind of like what Cincinnati did over there. A lot of teams very optimistic. Philadelphia fans never optimistic, but massive move was made. Go ahead, Con Man.
Yeah, Chef Jonathan Grenard gets traded during day 2, I believe. They got a 3rd round back for him and the 3rd round for next year. How did this develop? Were there any other teams kind of in it on Grenard, or was it always just going to be the Eagles once they lost Adrian Phillips to the Carolina Panthers?
The interesting part of this trade is it had been in the works for weeks, and there was a point in mid-March in that first week of free agency where these two teams were heavily discussing a potential trade for Jonathan Grenard, and they couldn't agree on the value at that point in time. And I believe at that point in time that the Eagles were offering a 3rd round pick this year. The Vikings wanted a 2nd round pick this year.